Now, the rest of the story.
We're down here picking up the few bales we got off this. I'd say it's a 50-50 mix of bales that we're going to use for bedding and bales that I can actually feed to the cows. These are primarily bedding bales. More or less just want the cows to lay on them. And Dad and I just got done pushing up the manure in the cattle lot about an hour ago. More or less just making some really nice compost. I mean, the pile is getting pretty big, and more or less as we're pushing it up like we are, we're exposing everything to air again. And if we get the rain that they're saying we're supposed to get, that'll hopefully more or less get that to compost out even more, and maybe get this to keep growing. I'm really not worried about moisture down here because all this was still fairly soft when we were baling it. This was baled off 2 days ago, and well, when I was baling it, I was actually finding soft spots in the dirt where I was sinking in, or not so much even sinking in, but you know, the treads on the tires were definitely working. So not a whole lot of growth here yet. I know there's moisture here. That's not even a blip on the radar as far as worrying about any of this down here really drying out. The big thing is me just being wishy-washy. This might be the majority of my hay for the year. If I can get a second cut, which I'll end up probably going through and mowing this off again whenever I make that, simply just because I'll drop the cutter bar a little bit lower and help me clean up some of this stuff yet. What I want to see is this, not so much that kind of grass in particular, because that's not the canary I'm looking for, but I am happy to see that there's some grasses starting to come back through on it. This was really light as far as much of any grass is in it, but what I'm looking for is getting all of this stuff out. It's going to allow everything over there and everything that's already here, because there is reed, canary through all of it, 100% of it. The big thing is knocking down this stuff, and it should give the grasses that are there a chance. Let's see, there's some broadleaves coming up. A chance to maybe take it over, which is what I would really like to see. This is just the constant quest of trying to get 100% usage out of this down here, which by me doing this, that's it. I mean, I have nothing else to really strive for as far as trying to getting my money's worth out of just being down here, because there's nothing else that I can claim. So this piece of ground right here, which the camera makes it look like it's a whole lot more than what it really is, but I would absolutely love to be able to make this consistently. I mean, maybe not even on a first cutting, but if I can gradually start pushing some of this, you know, back this way from over here and just kind of slowly start reclaiming it, I'd be incredibly happy. So we went through on the Bobcat. The old tires were shook, shot, and forgotten about. So I bought these last year, and everyone says, because there's a similar style, there's the construction tires on the deer steer, and we get along really good with them. The thing is, with the deer steer, it has enough weight that even if the tires do fill up with mud, manure, and everything else, the machine itself is still going to be able to dig and claw its way through, even if the tires do get, you know, coated. With this, not so much. This is your tried and true example of, these are concrete tires, for anybody that's wondering. The reason I went with them is because I am looking for something that doesn't wear as fast. I mean, your stereotypical skid tires, maybe 2 years, we get of actual use out of them, and then they'd be bald, to be bare. Well, I'm looking for more long-term use out of these. We're on concrete, I'm on dirt, I'm on snow, I'm on ice. So the only concern I have is with the other tires, because they were bald. When I was putting my chains on, my chains were mainly what got me around in the winter. I didn't have issues getting around in the winter, but having this much tread, which, I mean, that's 2 fingers, my chains are going to potentially, are going to have more chain down in the lugs than I'm actually going to have sticking up. So I'm probably going to have issues in that way, but I don't know until we run it. I mean, I'm happy with them as of right now. I haven't ran them a whole lot, but I was a bit apprehensive about actually wanting to use them. These are all bales that are destined to be used for bedding. They're very heavy in the stock department. I mean, there's grasses in here and everything else. I mean, I'm not worried so much in that regard. I'm hoping this stuff doesn't come back too heavy, but we'll see. They are calling for 6 to 8 tenths of rain tonight, which on, I'd say, a regular year, that really isn't that much, because normally it's, okay, we're gonna get 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches. Well, this year we haven't had an inch of rain. We've had one rain event over an inch of rain since we planted the crops. Oh well. So as far as worrying about it being super dry down here, this is where bottom ground usually shines, is what everybody tells me. So my concern is it's becoming more and more obvious. I'm hoping to make this the 1st of August. Then I'm not going to make the rest of the farm. I'm going to let that go till the end of September, October. Probably not quite October, because then you worry into drying issues. I just worry that this stuff's just going to get stunted, which it doesn't really seem like it. It's grown a lot since I was down here just a few days ago. But seeing how much the heat is affecting just everything, I mean, as a farmer, you can't be a little bit concerned. So all I got is 2 more loads down here, and this will be done. We'll be coming down as soon as I can get around to it, and I'm going to spray my foliars on everything on the bottom. I got to spray the rest of the farm. It's going to get it at least once, but then if I can only come down and make my second cutting off of the bottom itself, I'll do the nitrogen, I'll do the foliar, and at least try to get a 3rd cutting off of everything down here. It's just my bale numbers aren't adding up. I mean, I really thought this was going to be at least 30 bales, and somewhere from when you cut it with the disc bind to raking it to baling it, somewhere up until it hits the pickup on the baler, something happens where the stuff just disappears. It doesn't accumulate. I mean, these are 64-inch bales, the same as I made last year, but I am going to cheat. That's right, I am cheating. I had 193 bales off this entire farm for first crop. Well, this stuff is still technically first cut, so I'm over 200 bales now. Oh, I'm taking that win. I'm calling it a win, just to make myself feel a little bit better. So the stuff is nothing spectacular. I mean, the cows, I don't expect them to eat this, but that manure pile we got up at home, I'll let the cows will go through. I'm confident the cows will go through, chew on this, and then kind of stomp on all this. It's what I want to see anyway. So these are good bad examples of what was down here, because these are probably the worst of the worst. That's why they're stacked so close together. We already took a bunch of, well, the first load was actually primarily all the good bales. It was 50-50 of the 18 bales that were down here. 9 of them were practically all canary, and the other 9 of them were just like this. One thing I'm noticing too, it's July 10th, that wind really just never does stop blowing. There's always a breeze, and we're getting to where it's not exactly a cool breeze, it's pretty warm. Hauled up 7 bales of my alfalfa hay, so I got a roll of that. I got some grass hay over the back. I have 18 bales down at the valley. Was it 11 of them or 9 of them are primarily the reed canary, while the rest of them are going to be treated just like the straw is being treated. I'm sorry if the wind is messing up my video here, but same thing like with the straw. There's oats on it, so they're going through and they're shredding it, trying to get the oats, dumping in that summer stalks, I guess is what I'm calling it for the time being. Just gonna set it in, let them knock it around. They do their business on it. We'll end up pushing this lot back up, which with the bobcat back up here, I left my material bucket up here just for that reason. So either gonna try to time it when the bale feeders are empty. I'll pick them up out of the way and start at the back, and then try to push everything up and get this manure pile pushed back up again. But it's dry. I mean, the row crop, I could sit and do row crop updates, but it's incredibly depressing if I did that, so I just choose not to. But the grass, the quality is really nice on the grass and the corn, or not the corn, the alfalfa. The alfalfa that we did get, granted, looked like there was a lot there, but by the time it runs through the disc bind, through the rake, into the baler, I'm not saying we're losing a lot like leaf floss or anything. Yeah, look at my junk pile. All this stuff's gonna get cleaned up here in a rather aggressive fashion. The alfalfa just really didn't seem to add up. Even the stuff down at the valley, I got 18.5 bales down there. I was a little disappointed in that for how heavy that material was when I was cutting it. I mean, even though it's not really worth doing anything with, like that, the stocky stuff, it's still something that the cows can mull over, gnaw on, as you can see, and it gets them one day closer to next spring. So cattle don't need grade A top feed all the time. I mean, that's actually what I'm doing. The alfalfa, the pure alfalfa bales, I'm only gonna put one in at a time. So 1 alfalfa to 2 grass bales, because if I just gave them 3 alfalfa bales, that'll go through them like a Starbucks coffee. So I just as soon put the grass through them and kind of slow down that alfalfa feed just a little bit. Yes, we got to replace that post on the end here, and then I'm going to hang a new gate before winter, because this isn't doing anything. Oh, as far as like if they really wanted to get out here, they could, but I also pick it up. But that's what the cows look like. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. I mean, the bulls have been working as far as I've been seeing. I mean, sporadically looking out, and there's typically 2 of them at any one time chasing somebody. It might be tempting to get them preg checked this fall, like November, December, just to see what I have bred for summer, and then maybe sell my fall herd. We'll see. So I'm just really happy with how they look. I mean, they've shedded that rough coat from the winter, and they're getting shiny. My steers over there, they're really starting to look good. They've been on getting corn and mineral now for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and watching out for pink eye. I thought I had 1 case the other day. It came out and I had 5. So at least everybody's treated, everybody's happy, everybody's got water. I just put a mineral block in 2 days ago. But we gotta go and finish hauling hay home. As of right now, I gotta go finish baling hay. I gotta rake and bale probably 5 or 6 bales worth of hay down at my place, which is nothing. But as of right now, when you're not really confident as to how much feed we're sitting on, I still don't have the pull shed down at my place packed full, and I'm kind of concerned about having to put out a bale or so for the cows just to make sure they don't start crawling fences. But that's also why we went through and we made the waterways and the grass. I'd rather have them have the grass waterway hay now, and then save the better quality alfalfa. Yeah, see, somebody's getting 2 bulls are after this one heifer here, Blue 78. So I think next spring could actually be pretty interesting. And to the point where I get primarily all of them bred. I mean, that'd be awesome to have like 40 head of calves running around here next April, May. And those bulls that I bought, I'm really happy with them. They're the KFC bulls. We did put Rocky and I don't remember their farm name, the white bull. Actually, everybody seems really good. I mean, I know Rocky, I've seen him jump a couple times, but the 2 red ones that I bought, I mean, I obviously would prefer they do 100% of the jumping, but I'll take what I can get. So with the cattle prices being where they are, and I'm not really seeing a whole lot of reason to think they're going to drop too much. I mean, the cattle might be the good play right now, or might be the right play. But I'm going to head out and finish baling.
Well, Relina and I have been baling waterways, and it's pretty much the same theme with everything else. I don't think you've ever really seen me talking to cameras. She's wondering who I'm talking to. Everything's really turned out light. It looked better in the windrow than it ultimately ended up doing in the bale. I only got 5 bales off this. I didn't do all the waterways that I typically do, largely because there's some of them there's just nothing there. And last year I think we did like 28 bales off of the waterways alone. So I'd say we're off just a little bit from what we typically are. But with looking at the potential of having to, I've never had to really do it in recent years, but actually looking to supplement the cows that are out on pasture with putting a bale out for them to keep them off the fences, I'll take anything I can get, because this is going to be the first stuff I'll feed to the cows. That real thick, good quality alfalfa that we made, that'll end up getting put in the back of the shed and fed this winter. So if we do ultimately end up short on feed for the cows, we'll end up just trying to bale more fodder than what we typically do on a regular year, and we'll just put in an extra bale for them than what we normally do, so they can knock the corn fodder around a little bit more. But we'll be done baling, I'd say, for the month of July by doing this. It's the 10th today, and they're calling for, last I checked, they were still calling for a chance of rain tonight, and the biggest chance is tomorrow night into Wednesday. They're calling for 6/10. It's a whole lot of rain. Any rain that we get is going to go towards plant and weed development before it's going to go towards subsoil recharging. I mean, to actually get moisture down deep into the soil, we're looking at a week of steady rain minimum, if not more, significantly more. And the thing that bothers me about it is when the gauge, as far as the moisture gauge goes, when you're dry, the farther it goes down this way, before you start getting to come back the other way towards wet, as it takes a significant weather event to get it to do that. So I'm talking, you get back into like a flood pattern, which is something I'm not wanting. I mean, droughts will scare you, a dry year will scare you, a wet year will starve you, because at least in a dry year we can get the crops in, the plants are able to try to produce whatever they're able to produce. I mean, the corn is going to try to put on an ear where it can. In a wet year, you can't even get into, okay, so you can't even get in to plant the crop. Well, if the seed is still sitting in the bag, what are you producing? All right, well, I'm seeing out in central, I don't know if it's central Kansas, but out in Kansas, Oklahoma, they're actually wet. I mean, wetter than what they would stereotypically say that they would be. I mean, they're generally on the drier side. So their problem is they're actually abandoning their wheat crops. I was reading earlier that there are guys that have 50% of their crops still out in the field with no intentions of harvesting it because they can't. It's just the rain was adequate enough where they couldn't get out to spray the crops, which let the weeds take over. And then as the weeds took over, they hindered the wheat crop's growth, development, and it just adds a whole nother level of difficulty to it rather than just being dry. So I can't say I cheer for one or the other, too dry or too wet. I mean, I'm in the camp of, I hope for spoon-fed irrigation type showers where if it was up to me and I had a magic button to push when it would rain and when it wouldn't, every Sunday I would hope for, you know, a good decent rain every Sunday, all from the 1st of June till September 1st. I mean, that'd be ideal. That's dang near what we had last year, which is ultimately why I think we had such a good crop. But there's a lot around here that I want to try to work on. A lot around here that's gotten kind of pushed to the back of the list just because I haven't had a chance to really be around to do it. Mom's looking for you. Yeah, might find out she likes spending time with her dad. Yellow. Alright. No, it's the joys of being a father. You get the to-go pack, and the little turkey is ready to go home. She's looking for daddy's truck. But what I want to say is, I was wondering why, because we've been here for, oh, this is 3 hours now since we got done bailing. I was wondering why her shorts were all dirty. No, she hasn't fallen or anything. She takes after her dad. When she's running, she ran through the machine shed with her dirty shoes, and she was kicking her butt as she was running. So that's, I just so happen to know her daddy used to do that. Okay, kennel up. Kennel up, wow. Load up. All right, that's it for this video.